Hi everyone, it's Mr. Baker here. Today we're starting a new topic of energy resources, and today we're going to be looking at energy demands. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at energy demands, and we're going to be able to answer this question: how do we power the world? Now, here's a graph of the energy demands over time. You can see that it starts in 1965 with Asia, the red line there, lower than quite a few of the other ones there. North America, the green line there, was the highest. And over time, so if you come towards 2000, 2010, 2018, that red line has gone up and up and up. And North America's line's gone up. Europe's line has gone up a little bit and then sort of stayed the same. And so you can see that over time, the energy demand has gone up and up and up over the last 50, 60 years. For the last 67 days, I'm actually recording this on a day where, for the last 67 days, Britain hasn't used any coal to make electricity. So actually that run has just come to an end today. And we're going to see how we actually make electricity. So these are the energy resources that were used in 2017. You can see two pie charts here. So you can see that across the world, coal was just over a quarter of the energy resources that we use to make electricity. Oil was 34.2%, natural gas was 23.4%, and then renewables were about 10%, and then nuclear power was 4%. And then you can sort of zoom in on those renewables. You can see that the vast majority, almost 2/3 of the renewable power, is made by hydroelectric power stations. About 20%, just under that, 18.1%, was made by wind turbines. Geothermal and biomass was 9.4%, and solar power accounted for about 7.1% of the renewables. Okay, so you can see how the energy resources kind of split up, and you can see the vast majority of what the ways that we make electricity was through coal, oil, and gas. And we're going to have a little look at that over the topic that we're doing over these next few lessons. So let's answer this basic question first of all then. So what is a fuel? A fuel is something that can react to release energy as heat and light. So we've got lots of examples of different fuels here. We've got coal, oil, gas, and we've got nuclear fuel, and we've got wood, biomass. All of those can react to release energy as heat and light. And what's an energy resource then? So a useful store of large amounts of energy that can be used to make electricity. And that's how we define what an energy resource is. And energy resources could be fossil fuels, biofuels, nuclear fuels, wind, hydroelectricity, tidal, geothermal, water waves, and solar. So we would call all of these things energy resources. They're not all fuels, but they are all energy resources. Ultimately, all the energy on Earth originally comes from the sun, but has been stored as different energy resources. So what do renewable and non-renewable mean? You've probably heard these words before. Energy resources can be classified into two groups, renewable and non-renewable. Renewable resources will never run out, at least not for a very long time. So that's our definition of renewable. And non-renewable energy resources will eventually run out. Okay, so that's how you need to define those. So examples of renewable resources could be wind, biofuel, geothermal, water waves, solar, tidal, hydroelectric. All of those would be classed as renewable energy resources. Non-renewable resources would be fossil fuels and nuclear fuels. Okay, so you can see the difference. The fossil fuels, coal, oil and gas, and the nuclear fuels will eventually run out, whereas the other ones won't. So that's the lesson today. These are the things that you should be able to do. You should be able to define a fuel, describe what energy resources are, and give examples of different types of them. You should be able to describe the differences between renewable and non-renewable energy resources, and you should be able to describe the world demand for energy and what resources are currently used to meet that demand. Okay, so we asked at the beginning, how do we power the world? And that's through all the different types of energy resources that we use. So we have the renewable and the non-renewable energy resources. The ones that won't run out being the renewable ones, and the ones that will run out being the non-renewable ones. And you saw from that very first pie chart that I showed you that the vast majority of the energy resources on the planet that we use at the moment are through coal, oil and gas, and that's where we use most of our energy resources, and that's where we get most of our electricity from. Okay, so that's been the video on energy demands. I've been Mr. Baker, and I will see you next time.